Dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you to our second webinar for English teachers. And the topic of our webinar today is free online resources for English teachers. I would like to ask your permission to record this webinar so that other participants who are not able to attend it today personally can watch the recording of this webinar. And also, we will send you the link to the recording so you can watch it again and share with your colleagues. I'm very happy to introduce our speaker today. This is Mark Saxby. He is a teacher trainer and has been teaching for 10 years in Europe, Germany, Italy, and Czech Republic. He was also working for British Council in such countries like Libya, Jordan, Iraq, Oman, and he has been teaching for the last 3 years in Kazakhstan, Aktau, Almaty, Astana, and also he has CELTA, Delta, a bachelor degree in politics, master degree in political philosophy, and now he is studying for his master's degree in education, applied linguistics with the UK Open University. So I'm very happy to introduce Mark today, and now Mark, the floor is yours. So please switch on your video and audio. Dear colleagues, you can also switch on your videos, and if you have some questions, you can unmute your speakers, but my assistant will be muting most of you so that background noise do not prevent us from good recording and good quality of the webinar. And if you have some questions, you can ask them either in the chat or you can unmute your speaker using unmute button at the top of your icon and ask your question personally. Okay, so welcome, Mark, and we are very happy to see you and welcome you at our webinar.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm assuming everybody can hear me, and someone will say if they don't. Thank you to Yelena for inviting me, and thank you for giving some background on me and who I am. And my career background. First of all, I should apologize for the quality of the image that you're seeing of me. This is because this is my camera, it's nothing on the internet connection, and it's nothing your end. It's as good as I could get it, so I hope that you can at least see me partially. So, what I wanted to do with you today, I couldn't attend the previous webinar that Yelena gave, but I did watch it afterwards. And I realized that there were some things that people wanted to know about organizations and membership of organizations. And I thought I'd spend a little bit of the time today talking about organizations that people could join to help them in their career. And then I'll go on to look at some resources that you can find online that can just help you in everyday teaching. There are, of course, millions of these things. We'll probably only be able to scrape the top of the amount of things you can do. So I thought I will leave all of that until the end, and we'll see how much of that we can do. So in terms of sections, I thought I would talk, because it might be useful to people, bearing in mind some of the questions from last time about things like CELTAs, deltas and things like that. I thought I might just talk a little bit about my career progression, and if anyone and if we do that relatively quickly, and if anyone has any questions at the end of that about qualifications and things like that, that might be useful to start with. So if I just crack on with that, I decided to become a teacher after doing a career in arts administration. And when I did, I was aware of the fact that lots of people go abroad from Britain without any qualifications and turn up in countries and say, hey, I'm an English teacher. They probably know a great deal less about the English language than anyone here on this webinar. But I was also aware that there are qualifications that mean that when you turn up in a strange country, you can waive this qualification at the school and instantly you will get a job, and instantly the pay you will get will be much greater. And Yelena was talking about this quite a bit last time. And there are a number of preparations you can do, including weekend taster courses. I did one, or you can do the TKT, which Yelena talked about last time as well, which really helps improve your knowledge of some of the terms that are going to be used. So that can be very good preparation. But if you've been teaching for a little bit before, or if you're confident that you don't need to go through these and you want to really get to the teaching qualification you need, as Yelena said last time, this is the CELTA, the CELTA, Certificate of English Language Teaching to Adults. And I think that I would recommend, if you don't have it, get it. I did mine in Britain, in Hull. I don't think they offer it anymore. The University of Hull used to do it. But there are a number of providers. Cambridge, as was said last webinar, Cambridge will validate the training, but they won't be carrying it out. So it's carried out by different providers. International House is one of the biggest providers all over, and of course in Kazakhstan, if most of you are in Kazakhstan, then IH, as you know, is the biggest school, I think, in Kazakhstan. So if I were looking for a CELTA course, this is where I go onto the share screen, and I hope that the technology works for me. I'm hoping that I'm about to find something. This looks like the one. Yes, cambridgeenglish.org. Can people see that? Can somebody who can speak to me or say something in chat or nod ahead? Are you seeing the screen that I've got on the...
Yes, Mark, I can see the screen and it's very clear.
Okay.
So I hope everybody else can see it too. You can write in the chat if you can see it, or just write plus in the chat.
Okay. So cambridgeenglish.org, you can see up here. And then what you need to do is find a teaching qualification centre. So you would simply go on, not on the learning, on the teaching. And then you would find, if you go down to CELTA, my internet hasn't been that great today. I've opened up quite a number of pages, so we'll be okay anyway if things are too slow. But this is just some information about CELTA. And this really is the gold standard, basic level. If you have the CELTA, you will get a job. Even the British Council will employ somebody with a CELTA, with only a CELTA. Not in every job, not in every location, but they really do pride themselves on qualified teachers. And it's the must-have for many large language schools, including International House and the British Council. So that's if you wanted to find out more about CELTA and find a teaching centre. If you were, I think I had it just there, but I might have gone on to the next. That goes back. Okay, finding a teaching qualification centre, that would be under exams and tests, presumably. And then it's a little bit laborious. I've just checked, before coming on, I looked at Georgia and Turkey and Kazakhstan. And of course, if you look at Kazakhstan, as just one example, and you say CELTA rather than any other thing that's available, it will say there's one centre matching your search. It's Almaty, and no surprise that it's Interpress IH. So, of course, that would be for CELTA, that would be for Delta, that could be for any of the others, including the TKT, the Teaching Knowledge Test that Elena mentioned last time, and I mentioned again just now. So find out everything you want to know about the world recognized teaching qualifications from this site, cambridgeenglish.org. Okay, as well as that, while we're here, you can see there are other tabs: learning English, teaching English. So if you wanted to brush up your English, if you were a student or you're interested in teaching English, there are some other things on here, some resources, because that's what we're looking at today. So looking at this Activities for Learners site that I, under Learning English, which I opened up earlier just to save time. And then just go down, have a look at, perhaps we click on Do or Make, which I have already opened, just again for speed, I've already opened on here. And then it's a very simple, you can see the level, the CFR level. So this is B1, B2, upper intermediate, perhaps. Very simple activities. So let's see if we're confusing do and make. I didn't the shopping and now we're out of coffee. Oh my God, what's the answer? What do we think? Okay, fine. I know the difference between do and make, so that's a relief. So there we go. Essentially, the Cambridge English site, as I say, is for looking up things like qualifications, finding exam centres. Some of these you can do largely online now, the CELTA. You couldn't when I did it a long, long time ago. So I'm not someone who can talk to you a great deal about it, but there'll be lots of information about doing CELTA online, which I think involves, may involve a weekend or something of actual teaching on top of it, or maybe somebody comes to you. I don't really know. But as I say, there are some other resources on this Cambridge English site if you're interested in that at all. Of course, if you've been teaching for a while, and I imagine that most of the participants have, you might be thinking about the next stage to really start getting jobs in academic management, jobs as teacher trainers, and let's face it, better paid jobs, perhaps in more interesting countries than where you're currently at the moment. And for that, the world recognized qualification is the DELTA, which is not the certificate, it's the Diploma of English Language Teaching to Adults.